Postmodern literature began in the late 19th century with the end of World War II. Novels such as Animal Farm sparked this movement, beginning an age of governmental and social critique for the New World. The Western promises of freedom and prosperity were brought to question. Many began discovering their own truths in life, rather than submitting to the populace. This is especially evident in Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. Individualism, ironically, became the norm, and in response to both the Vietnam and Cold Wars, writers began to dispute common Christian and nationalist morals. In the case of the Cold War, political temperaments were tried as a result of tension over the future of destructive technology, such as nuclear weapons, lending fear to the idea of science being utilized for mutually assured destruction. As a result, this age of anxiety served as inspiration for the likes of Animal Farm and Fahrenheit 451, which acted as political commentary of the time.
At its heart, postmodernism isn't truly a philosophy. It's most simply a way of analyzing things. In fact, postmodernism doesn't have an agreed-upon definition even today. It's unknown as to whether or not we are even in this postmodern era. It's a critique of modernism and social structures that deal with absolutes, namely gender roles and social classes. This postmodern concept seeks to deconstruct ideas, like good versus evil, and show that there are no absolute truths. The civil rights movement, for example, fought to gain equality for all races and show that the preconceived notions of racism were only that, notions of those who desired to keep the social norms. Around the same time, apartheid was being deconstructed in South Africa. As people rallied against a system of segregation that had been in place for almost half a century, taking a stand to show that they believe themselves as individuals, and then they had not believed in the absolutes of racial discrimination.
An excerpt from In Cold Hell in Thicket by Charles Olson shows a good representation of the postmodernism era. The question, the fear he raises up himself against the same each act is proffered under the eyes each fix the town of the earth over is managed, is who am I? Who am I but by a fix and another particle, and the congery of particles carefully picked one by another? In this excerpt, we see an individual trying to find their sense of identity, their own sense of individuality, the same ideals promoted by postmodernism. Most recently, with the War on Terror, people have been more and more inclined to go against the no absolutes beliefs put forth by postmodernism, becoming fearful not just of acts of terrorism, but the entire race that committed them. This fear is actively being fought against in pursuit of a more accepting society that does not judge the masses based on an individual's actions. Postmodernism sought to argue that nothing was objective, that all of the assumptions the common person came up with were predicated on by society itself, and that there could be no objective truth because any time a truth was agreed upon, another idea could easily refute it. This is the reason that postmodernism doesn't have a definition, because giving it one would in fact go against its own beliefs that things can be conceived in a variety of ways, including postmodernism itself. We use sources from a variety of databases, including student resources in context and all about philosophy. We also used a video on the topic of postmodernism from the YouTube channel known as Unboring Learning.